Greetings and congratulations from Touch History. I, Parvez Kamal, am trying to present the history of America based on true events, feeling the urge to inform the next generation. Across the shifting borders of continents and centuries, the world has been shaped by people whose names are often forgotten, but whose footsteps still echo in dust, stone, and memory. Imagine a land where empires rise like storms and fall like shadows, where the clash of steel is matched only by the clash of ambition. It begins on the edge of an ancient frontier, where the wind carries the smell of smoke and the distant rumble of marching armies. A soldier stands on a barren ridge, his armor dented, his face lined with sleepless nights. He watches the horizon glowing red, not from the rising sun, but from burning villages. He knows the enemy is coming, and he knows his empire is tired, stretched thin across mountains, deserts, and forgotten corners of the world. Yet he tightens the strap on his shield, because history has no pity for those who hesitate. Far away, across oceans of sand, an aging king walks alone through his dimly lit palace hall. Once he commanded armies that darkened the ground with thousands of hooves, but now only silence follows him. Statues of stone-faced ancestors watch him from the shadows, as if questioning whether he will be the one to hold the legacy or let it crumble. He stops before an ancient mural showing his people defeating a mighty invader centuries ago. The colors have faded, but the fire in the painted warrior's eyes has not. He touches the wall and whispers a vow that he will not be the king remembered for surrender. Outside, monsoon winds rattle the palace pillars, as if nature itself is reminding him of the storms approaching. In the heart of a bustling city by a wide river, a young scholar sits surrounded by scrolls, maps of trade routes, tales of vanished tribes, records of forgotten kings. He searches for patterns in the rise and fall of civilizations, hoping to understand why some survived while others disappeared into legend. The scholar knows that knowledge can be sharper than any sword. As he traces the mosaic of human history, he begins to see that every empire collapses not by force alone, but by pride, betrayal, and the quiet erosion of unity. He realizes that his own kingdom is repeating the same old mistakes, but his warnings fall on deaf ears. People prefer the comfort of illusion over the burden of truth. Across the sea, a queen stands at the ramparts of her fortress, overlooking the restless water. Her ancestors built this stronghold stone by stone, believing it would stand forever. But nothing lasts forever. Not kingdoms, not dynasties, not even the beliefs carved into the walls. She grips the cold stone as news arrives that an unstoppable enemy army is advancing. Her advisors urge her to flee. Instead, she summons her soldiers, ordinary men and women who have plowed fields, raised families, and now must fight for the last breath of their homeland. She tells them that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else is worth more. Her voice carries across the courtyard like a spark, igniting dry grass, and in that moment, her people remember who they are. As night falls, three different worlds move toward a single fate. On the frontier, the soldier marches into the darkness with his comrades, their footsteps echoing like distant thunder. In the palace, the king gathers his council and chooses to lead from the front rather than hide behind walls. In the city, the scholar begins writing a chronicle, determined to preserve the truth even if his world burns. And across the sea, the queen's army stands like a wall of humanity against the approaching tide. When the battles erupt, they are not glorious. They are raw, chaotic, filled with dust, screams, and the metallic scent of blood. The soldier feels the earth shake beneath charging horses. Arrows cut through the air like angry birds. Fire climbs the sky as if it trying to swallow the stars. Yet in this violence, he discovers something deeper than survival, the realization that even a single moment of courage can echo through centuries. The king, leading his army from the front, sees his once divided people unite behind him. For the first time in years, they fight, not for land or gold, but for dignity. A fallen banner is lifted by a wounded boy, its colors torn but still proud. The king understands then that an empire's strength is not measured in walls or armies, but in the hearts of those who believe it is worth saving. The scholar watches the city burn as invaders breach the gates. Yet even in destruction, he writes faster, documenting what must not be forgotten. He knows that fire can consume the body, but not the truth. In a hidden chamber beneath the temple, he leaves his writings sealed in clay jars, praying that one day a future generation will uncover them and understand the cost of arrogance. Across the ocean, the Queen's forces fight until sunrise paints the battlefield gold and red. She stands in her dented armor, exhausted but unbroken. Though her army is small, their spirit becomes legend. Songs will be written about how they held the line when defeat seemed certain. History will call it a miracle, but she knows it was simply the strength of people who refused to bow. When the dust settles and the world becomes quiet again, none of these kingdoms remain the same. Some have fallen, some have endured, and some have been reborn. The soldier's bravery becomes a tale passed from campfire to campfire. The king's final stand becomes a symbol of unity. The scholar's writings become the foundation for a new age of learning. And the queen's defiance becomes a legend whispered by sailors crossing distant seas. In the end, history is not shaped by monuments or maps, but by the invisible threads of human courage, sacrifice, and hope. Empires may crumble, and their ruins may sink into sand or sea, but the stories of those who fought for their people continue to travel through time like a flame that refuses to die. Subscribe if you love this kind of historical storytelling. It's not just facts, it's feelings. Drop your current city and time in the comments. I love knowing history with true. Thank you.